He was the second best quizzer in the world last year. Can he go one better this year? We spoke to Troy Meyer. So I'm glad to be joined today by Troy Meyer of the USA, who came second last year in the World Championships. Welcome, Troy.
Thank you, Gareth. Great to be here.
So for people who know your name, they've seen you kind of doing well in the World Championships and some other competitions. Can you give us a bit of information about your quizzing background, how you got into quiz and sorts of things you've done previously?
Sure. Well, I got into trivia, as it's called in the US. I was inspired by Ken Jennings, I think, like most of all. I remember watching him, when I was 19, 20 and thinking, I know it's not a normal reaction, but thinking, man, I could do that. Like, if I worked at it a little bit, like I feel like I have that capability. And that's sort of like how I began to get more serious about trivia. I have played in like competitions in the US for years. I won the Learning League championship 4 times in the last 7 years. I'm a part of the now OQL USA champion Neutral MILF Hotel. And what else have I done?
It's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. And for those who might not be familiar with American TV, Ken Jennings was a mega winning champion on Jeopardy. Won an awful lot of money. He's one of these kind of champion-to-champion types. He's now a chaser on the American version of The Chase, and he's a thoroughly nice guy. So he's a pretty good role model to aim for. And Learned League, for those who don't know, is a web-based daily competition. You play against people over the internet, and that's quite a tough competition. So you've really you set your ambitions high. You've involved yourself in all sorts of things and quite successfully. Last year you came second in the World Championships. How long have you been doing the World Championships for?
So the first time I went out in 2016, and I think I finished like 90th or something like that, which was a little bit of a wake-up call because in the US competitions, I've always done like pretty well. And the global canon is just so different from like what would be the US canon. And that sort of set me on the path of like learning the global canon and just like taking in more of like global culture, global events, like things that would come up in the WQC. And I took it again in 2019 and finished 10th. And last year finished second. I feel like both I and Victoria and Yogesh, who finished in the top 5, maybe we benefited from maybe a more US biased set. I don't know. But I think overall, I was certainly elated to finish that highly, but I was a little bit surprised, I'll be honest with you.
But since then, and in fact, throughout last year and since then, you've been playing all sorts of international tournaments online. Do you think that's helping you to kind of really bolster that international canon?
Definitely. I've learned a lot about, sort of the boundaries and the construction of the international canon and playing in some of these tournaments, Mimr as well, or the OQL, which has like a large sort of British element to it in the writing, and in OQL UK. And also writing for WikiQuiz, I learned a lot about the sort of like construction and architecture of like the international quizzing canon, like how questions are written, like what is like a viable leveling, stuff like that. I know it's sort of like technical, but like that kind of thing, like it's really helped me like go in sort of the directions that I need to go to challenge for the World Championship.
And when you're thinking about the World Championships, are you focusing revision on particular areas? Have you got areas where you think, I really want to score heavily on that and I want to minimize the impact of that one if it's a weaker one? Have you got any tactics like that? Yeah.
Sure. Yes. Well, for one, I am terrible at international sports. And it's something like I need to get better at to like be a better like sort of global quizzer, but it's just like things like swimming gold medals or like gymnastics, they're just not things asked about in the US. And so I've never really, taken the time to learn them, but that's something that is a big part of the WQC sort of sports area. So I've tried to focus on things that like I'm naturally like, strong at, and like try to pick up points there. Go towards my strengths, and I feel like there's more points to be gained there than trying to build like this huge structure around areas where I'm weaker.
And do you have particular learning techniques? Are you a flashcarder, or do you have other ways?
I certainly am. Certainly am. Yeah, I'm a big Anki user, and both Victoria and me, we work a lot together, and we share ideas, and go over like areas where we'd like to focus, stuff like that. The US players in general are very collaborative and stuff like that.
Sounds like it. Real training partnerships.
Yes,
so kind of elevating and pushing each other on.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a big thing on the Neutral Milf Hotel, is like we really try to like push each other to like get better and like improve and broaden our scope in like various areas.
And it's working. You look at the members of that team, and you've all been phenomenally strong. And we do our Quizzer of the Week thing, and you've all been appearing in that regularly. And Neutral Milf Hotel's been appearing regularly as a team. It's it gets noticed when these performances happen time and again. And then when they happen in multiple tournaments, in Mimir as well, and Highbrow Mimir and etc. I think we've got greater visibility across the world of how good players are now than we used to.
I feel like so much of that has been Victoria. Like she's just been dominating everything. Like it's amazing. I've known Victoria for 15 years, and like to see her like become like arguably the best player in the world over the last like couple of years is just amazing, inspiring.
And very, very humble and nice with it as well. Lovely woman.
Yes, favorite person in quizzing. You can quote me on that.
I might chop that and put that in the preview for the Victoria one. Do you have any advice for somebody who's new to quizzing? Because everybody has to start somewhere. How would you suggest somebody sets about getting better as a quizzer?
I think it's like learning how questions are constructed, and like learning like what is viable that could be asked. Like if getting higher scores is like your goal, like understanding like, wow, this is something that could be asked about, or this is something that couldn't, tactically budgeting your time towards like things that could come up, being aware of like global events, culture, news. Like I have a rotation of like 30 like newspapers and magazines that I like skim through every week, and add to like my deck like interesting things. Things like that really help. Just taking notes, like adding, like I have a running like Google sheet on my phone where I like, if I see something that is interesting, I'll like jot it down. That just alone, that act really helps to like both keep your head in the game and retain what you're viewing.
Because setters are also always on the lookout for a question, aren't they? So if you spot something and think, oh, that would make a good question, there's a chance that a setter has also spotted the same thing.
Exactly. That's it. It's like get your mind in the setter's mind. Like where are they? What would be interesting to them? What would make an interesting question? Yeah.
And for different competitions, it can be a different level of granularity or detail or difficulty, etc. But it's a good mindset to get in. So looking ahead to the weekend, what are your kind of hopes and ambitions for the weekend? What do you think you might be able to achieve?
Well, I mean, I would love to win, but I feel like that might not be in the cards this year. I just lost my mom a few weeks ago, and I haven't really been preparing as hard as like I normally would. It's been really tough, and just the pandemic too, like has been difficult, like juggling family and work and all that. Like I certainly like haven't been on top of my reviewing and game as much as I normally would be. I think like, top 10, 15, 20, something like that, I think would be good. I mean, you never know with the set. I was surprised last year. So like, who knows what will happen, but I think respectability is my aim.
Well, I think we all aim for that, and we all have a different kind of definition of respectability as well. But look, I wish you all the best in the weekend. I hope you do as well as you possibly can, and yeah, and we'll look forward to seeing how the results pan out. But thank you very much for speaking to us, Troy.
Sure, thank you.
Cheers.